Today over coffee, we got to talk about this whole debate. Recently came up steel versus aluminum for your touring bike. But first, I got to show you how I clean this place up. Check this out. It's a little bit cold out here today. We got the heater going though. We're gonna do a little bit of cleanup. Bring you along for just a bit. Well, there you go. It's definitely not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. Got it cleaned up. Got to put that ladder away still. And I'm going to go fold up these sails now and get those kind of stowed away. Much better though. Gives you a lot more room. Do a few more things out here maybe. Steel versus aluminum. Age-old discussion. I ride an aluminum bike, but I own a steel bike too that I used to ride on the rail trails. I use mine for fitness, rail trail riding, and touring on different terrains. Some of it rail trail, some of it highway. Which is best? I don't know if it really matters. Everybody always wants to debate steel versus aluminum and which is better and why it's better. One of the things they often talk about is the aluminum guys will always say, well, aluminum is much better weight-wise. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you look at the bikes, the guys who make aluminum bikes always have to make the tubes bigger to accommodate the weight that they're going to be carrying, and the design is always a little bit bigger, maybe a little thicker. So when you factor all that in, the weight difference is really negligible. Not to mention, when you go to start throwing a bunch of gear on there, that's going to kind of make that weight just not even really a factor, the weight difference. Yes, it's a little lighter, but it's not major. I think when it comes to ride, that I can't tell a whole lot of difference in the ride of an aluminum versus a steel frame bike. I think actually what makes more of a difference are tires, seat post, and the seat that you choose. I think that's far more going to affect your ride than the frame itself. Can you feel more things? I don't know. I can't tell that much difference, honestly. But your results may vary. I think just choosing better tires that you can use for touring, a seat that's comfortable, maybe a seat post. I've not done that, but a lot of folks say they'll use some sort of a shock absorbing seat post potentially on their ride, but I haven't had any major issues with the type of riding I do. So I think when it comes to ride, I can't really tell a whole lot of difference. Corrosion, people will talk about, well, steel will rust. Well, the fact of the matter is that unless you're riding right by the ocean or in salt water, or unless you live somewhere where there's a lot of salt being used on the roads and you ride in the wintertime, it's probably not going to make a whole lot of difference. It's going to take years for a steel bike, even if it does develop any corrosion, to rust to the point of failure. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that the likelihood of that happening is probably pretty slim. Most people, they're going to get rid of that bike and move on to a different bike probably before anything like that's going to fail. Yes, there are people out there that have failures, but I would tend to think that a lot of that is mistreating it by hitting things more than anything. There are numerous people that have run into objects or run off the road or did something crazy with a curb. That's where most of the actual breaks come from. The other thing you'll hear people say is that, well, I can more easily get my bike repaired if it's steel. Well, the fact of the matter is you don't want just everybody repairing your bike, number one. Even steel tubing is very thin, and so someone who's not an experienced welder is not going to do a good job that's going to last. The second thing is that if you're in the U.S. touring around, you're going to be able to find plenty of steel and aluminum welders both who can do that kind of work. And if you're in a third world country somewhere and you're biking, okay, maybe you could get your steel bike more easily repaired. But I think it's kind of a wash, honestly, for most people. So what's going to last longer? Well, I think both of them are going to last equally as long. And it really comes down to design, build quality, and that's more important than the material. Pick a good manufacturer who does good design and someone who does a really good job with the welding and putting together the bike. You're going to have very few problems when it comes to that. So I say get yourself any bike, get out there and ride, put some miles in, look around you a little bit, enjoy the scenery, stop thinking about aluminum versus steel. Thanks for watching. You know the routine. See you again soon.